And goddamn, gonna pull the trigger in the land of the free. This land belongs to me. I'ma make you dance, fueling up and moving free. Yeah, my triple great granddaddy got this land for free. Pass it down to me, now I'm spraying DDT. I'm a monoculture, I gotta fertilize my dirt.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our Star Spangled Spectacular, the series where we review all of the Captain America films leading up to the release of Captain America Brave New World. And today we are going to be covering probably the biggest Captain America movie, which is Captain America Civil War. Well, this was the kickoff for the Phase 3 of the MCU, so this was leading into Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, it was Age of Ultron and then this. And it's almost like, you guys didn't like Age of Ultron? We're going to give you this shit.
This should just be an Avengers movie. Almost everyone is here.
Yeah. It's not an Avengers film because there's no Thor and Hulk, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess if you don't have them in it, it's not an Avengers film. It has all of the Avengers and characters that weren't even in the Avengers up until this point.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into the characters they introduced in this film. What I will say about this film, I love this film. I don't love it as much as Winter Soldier, but it's like 0.1 in difference of likeness. To me, at least.
I don't even blame you. I don't know which movie I like more, so both Civil War and Winter Soldier are my number one.
That's totally fair. I don't blame you. This film was awesome. Like, I was a little worried watching it again because I remember talking with some friends at one point saying, like, there was parts of Civil War that didn't really work for me, but when I was watching it, man, all this shit was working. All the characters have such strong beliefs, and you believe what side they stand on.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for why they're doing it. And then when characters flip-flop and change their beliefs, it makes sense.
Yeah. I like how strongly they established the characters' beliefs at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that Captain America is still recovering mentally from the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. Like, he does not trust anyone anymore. Or he trusts the Avengers.
Yes, that's it.
There's
no one else.
He does not trust the government. He doesn't trust the CIA. He doesn't trust anybody. This film is about the Avengers. They go on a mission. It goes poorly. Really bad, actually. A lot of innocent people die. And this causes the UN to construct the Sokovia Accords, which is based off the Sokovia incident from Age of Ultron, which we do have to kind of mention. Age of Ultron plays a big part in this film. And what the Accords basically state is that the Avengers, instead of being this own independent operation, they would have to be government sanctioned. The UN would basically be like, okay, you have to go there and fight this person, and if something happens and we don't say that you do it, you can't go. They're basically government-run Avengers. And
yeah.
What I love about this film, okay, if we were to boil these characters down and explain, and if we were to ask some random person on the street, whose side do you think Captain America would be on? You would think he'd be for the UN and the government to be like, no, these people should be controlled. And if we were to tell you, what would party boy, philanthropist, playboy, Iron Man, what side do you think he'd be on? He'd be like, oh, he'd be the guy being like, no, we should be able to do what we want. And this film does such a good job of explaining why both of them are on opposite sides of that.
Yeah.
And we will cover the Iron Man films later this year. Stay tuned for Starked Up. That's when we'll do that. But for right now, I'll just say this film does a great job of showing where Tony Stark is at this point in his life of being like, I do bad shit. Things I make go horribly wrong. I need to be controlled.
Yeah.
If we're going to go based on the first film, all of his weapons are being used against people in the Middle East. Age of Ultron, all him. That whole thing was him.
Him and Banner a little bit.
Well, mostly him.
Mostly him. Why did you let that thing access to the internet, bro?
Yeah.
Just remove its Wi-Fi privileges. Congratulations, you've invented the apocalypse.
Spent 1 minute on the internet, and he was like, "These motherfuckers need to go."
That is literally what happened.
But I like that where Steve is at this point, because he did say, like, yeah, after Winter Soldier, he does not have any trust in the government anymore.
Yeah, not at all.
I am only a Captain America in that is just my brand at this point. The shield is red, white, and blue. I don't really believe in the American government anymore. He stares daggers into Thunderbolt Ross in this film. All right, boy, tell me what you want.
All right.
All right, say what you're gonna say and move on. But no, I love seeing both Iron Man and Captain America on these opposing sides and it making sense for their characters at this point in time. And I really do like the scenes, aside from all the fighting, like the actual fist-to-face fighting. I like the scene where this is after Steve has been captured by the German police. Very fitting. And Tony and him are trying to like talk it over and like, come to an agreement as to what they should do to go forward and how Bucky will be handled, how the Avengers will be handled, how he will be handled, and what kind of missions they go on and the safeguards. And the one thing Tony says to really piss him off is mention that he has Wanda under security. And Steve is like, nope, not having it. She ain't free, no way. Mm-mm.
He's the man of freedom. If everyone doesn't get their freedom, he will riot.
No, yeah, he's like, if she's not free, I'm not signing it. Because you're taking our rights away from us. I'm not having it. I like that about this character, and I think that's just an awesome thing. I think, ideology-wise and political-wise, I agree more with Captain America in this film. But personal-wise, towards the end of the film, I kind of switch over to Iron Man a little bit. More as just how the story goes, but no, yeah. And Civil War, the comic, was one of the first comics that I actually bought and read. Like, this story meant a lot to me as a kid, so seeing it adapted onto the big screen was really awesome for me because it's a great look at our characters and seeing their ideologies put to the test. It's really fun. It's just really good. The comic book is great, but the comic is not this. The movie has bullet points, like the incident that causes the Accords is started off by an explosion. How the explosion starts is for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And then the Accords are named something different. The lineup of the teams is also different. I just love this film. You also got to give this film a lot of credit. It came out in 2016, aka an election year.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea of like friends and family fighting against each other over political belief, it's not too far of a stretch.
Yeah.
I guess if we want to move on from like the more political side of things, like there's just a fuck ton of characters in this film. And what I appreciate about the film is that even though this is pretty much Avengers 2.5, they do a good job of making it a Captain America story.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He is the main character. All the side characters do a good job as to make it bigger than the title says it is. We're talking about the Accord stuff, but what I also really appreciate about this film is that the film could go down what the problem with the comic was, is that it's a bunch of Avengers fighting Avengers over political ideologies that they could have just talked over. But what I really appreciate about this film is that it puts Bucky in the center of it all, and it makes it more of a personal story that is affected by the political stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's just more like Bucky and Zemo, if you want to go into that, is like the reason why everything's being kicked off.
Honestly, it's deeper than that. Everything's being kicked off all because of Ultron.
So you're saying AI is the problem?
Yes, AI is the enemy of humans. This is why ChatGPT should be decommissioned. You guys ever watch iRobot?
No. Remember, people, all this political strife is all caused by a program that was designed to face you against your brother.
Can't tell if that's just Skynet or the Matrix.
Why not at all? I, for one, appreciate our robot overlords. We could get out of the political stuff because that is a very heavy topic, and I think we're joking about it too much. But
yeah.
I'll just say this. Rewatch the film and make your own opinion on the political stuff. We're just going to state what we have to say. I'll just say, another thing I really appreciate about this film, they introduce two very important Marvel characters into this film like it's nothing. And it's done so well. I mean, fuck, which one do you want to start with?
The man, the myth, the legend, Black Panther, Wakanda forever.
That's all you.
Honestly, I think I explained my entire thoughts with that introduction, but I can... I think in terms of let's call it a pre-origin story since he has his own movie, and I guess that counts as another origin story.
This is Black Panther Zero.
Yes, Black Panther Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very good introduction to Black Panther, what he can do, who he is, and what that means for the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's very much on par with Captain America and Winter Soldier.
On par.
All three of them were running faster than cars.
Yeah.
I think he's probably better. He was beating the heck out of both of them. He can, because like it's more than just the superhuman enhancements. It's the martial arts too.
It's also the fact that he's wearing a bulletproof suit and claws that could cut you.
Okay, yeah. When I say martial arts, I mean he fought Bucky using nothing but martial arts. No suit, nothing.
That's true.
And basically, essentially had the upper hand. So I'm out here wondering what kind of martial arts they teach at Wakanda.
Black Kung Fu.
Black Kung Fu. Panther Fu.
Panther Fu. Wakando.
Wakanda.
That's actually kind of a funny name. It was upon rewatching this I was like, oh fuck, Black Panther's gonna be in this. And I only say that because it's so sad to see him in this. He's great. Chadwick Boseman is so good in this.
He really is. He
just commands such a presence that, like, even before Black Panther came out, people were treating him like the king. He acts like a king, and you have no context behind what his kingdom looks like. Because all you know is that he's from some African country.
Yeah.
You don't see... The only bit of Wakanda you see in this film is, like, at the very end, and all you see is the Panther statue and a lab.
Yeah.
So, like, he doesn't talk much, but when he says something, it has power behind it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's just really depressing talking about him. I honestly think he's the James Dean of the modern era. Just an actor who was so good and just candle burn out too quick.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I don't want to keep the mood too depressing because I noticed the vibe of the room kind of went down. But, like, just gotta say, man, like, he's incredible in this. And I even like his story arc in the film. Like, he himself has to realize that he is going down the path of revenge and it's bad. And he's seen what it's doing to Iron Man and Captain America, or Iron Man specifically.
He realizes that it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's after revenge, that guy's after revenge, that guy's it's destroying all of them.
Mm-hmm. And he's the only one to realize this and rise above it. And this is more like a compliment to, like, Wakanda Forever, the second film. I love that they tied this part with him and Zemo of, like, not killing him into Shuri's arc in that film of, like, not killing the person that killed Parent.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way they handled this character in a film that is not his own is incredible. I guess we could also talk about the other character they introduced into the film, which is probably the more popular character.
Spider-Man!
Yeah. Dude.
It took me a second. They introduced a lot of characters in the movie.
I know. Well, no, these are the two, like, big ones.
Yeah, the big ones.
Uh-huh. The history of getting this character into the MCU is very fascinating.
I heard Spider-Man was going to be in this movie. I was so hyped because it's like, yes, the best superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be so good. And it was. It was so good. It was so awesome.
Everybody was so happy to see him, like, interact with these characters. I know everybody's kind of, like, sick to death of, like, Spider-Man having Iron Man in his own movie. Doctor Strange, Nick Fury in his own movie. But in 2016, after we got the dog shit movie that is Amazing Spider-Man 2, to see Spider-Man hang out with Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, like, all these characters we've come to know and love, no one could ever say to me, like, oh, Spider-Man doesn't belong in the wider MCU. This is why it works. He is just a fun character to have interact with these larger-than-life characters.
Yeah. I like how they kept the most important part about second most important part about Spider-Man, which is his inability to not make jokes.
Yeah.
You know, he's in a fight. He's fighting them. He's making one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I think you dropped this. Throws a freaking grenade.
Yeah, throws like a chunk of metal. Hey, you know that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back, with the walkie thingies? Oh, like, so funny, man. And you know what? Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man. I feel like Tom
Really?
Holland has shown me what I grew up on Spider-Man, and he's done it perfectly. That's my Spider-Man.
Honestly, it's kind of the same.
We could just move on
Yeah, I
from
know.
that. We could save that Spider-Man talk for whenever we talk about Spider-Man in the future. I guess to kind of go through a bunch of other characters real quick. I like Wanda and Vision's relationship in this film. Nice little start to that dynamic that I think is really paid well off in not only Infinity War, but also in her own show, WandaVision.
Honestly, I was wondering why the hell Vision was spitting game while cooking food he doesn't know how to cook.
Hey man, there's really big Vishon energy in this. He's spitting game, man.
He really is.
I like Ant-Man in this film. It's still crazy to me that Giant Man was introduced into this film and not his own film.
Bruh.
That's kind of funny to me, but it also makes for a great moment in this film.
That makes it even more of a comic book movie.
Yeah, I love it. Hawkeye, cool to have in here. Not much else to say. War Machine, I like his character. I wish there was more of the element of like him being a soldier as well and him having some respect for Captain America, but he's mostly just like, I'm with Tony here. Tony's my boy.
Yeah, that's his. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, he does have one of the more horrific things happen to him in this film. He drops from the sky and like breaks his spine.
Yeah.
But I also feel like they kind of just move on from that. It's just like, oh shit, one of us got hurt.
Yeah, that's straight up what happens. He gets blasted out of the sky, and then we just move on.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
nothing else. That's just it.
I do like the ending where he says like, even with the outcome that happened, he would never have changed his belief. He still believes in what he did was right.
Yeah.
Great moment for Don Cheadle. I think he's really good in the film. I just think that I wish in a film already that has a lot of characters and done really well, I just wish there was another moment in the film with him. But as you're saying.
Oh yeah, I was going to say Tony Stank.
That's a funny moment.
Yes. Tony Stank.
Tony Stank. Oh, I guess we could kind of talk a little bit about Black Widow. Do you have anything to say about Black Widow in this film?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I like that she is on the opposite side of Cap in this film because of the relationship that was set up in Winter Soldier. But I also like the moment after like Peggy's funeral where she's going to him to ask about the Accords, but then he's like, so you here to just bring me in? And she's like, nah, I'm just here to help a friend out. And she just gives him a hug because like he's obviously going through a lot right now and she just wants to be there for him. And again, it's not romantic. It's just two really good friends one friend really looking out for another. And it's moments like that in the MCU that makes me really appreciate the time they put into all these characters. And upon a rewatch, it's moments like that I gravitate towards more. These larger than life heroes and characters feel like real people in this moment. And that's what I really love about this film.
Yes.
Damn, I have a lot of notes.
Characters.
There's a lot of characters. If we want to talk more about the film in general, I think a lot of the action scenes in this film are just great.
That's because they are.
Okay, shit. I'm just saying a point. I mean, the opening scene with Crossbones is really cool. The scene where Bucky is being hunted and Captain America's trying to save him, and that introduces Black Panther.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. Another thing I really like in the film that's kind of not stated, but kind of shown just by action, is that these Accords would never work because literally right with underneath your noses, someone managed to sneak in, break out your biggest liability, the guy you were hunting, and none of your heroes were prepared to save this because you all had to lock their weapons up.
Yeah.
It just kind of goes to show like this Accord thing would have worked.
Yeah.
Which I find really interesting. I really like that scene for that, just to show like this shit doesn't work. And then yeah, the airport scene is incredible. It's a comic book come to life in the best way possible. Just that splash page image of both teams just coming at each other.
The best group fight scene in like the entire MCU.
I don't know.
Than, like the with the exception being on Infinity War
and Endgame.
No, Infinity War.
Oh, you didn't like Endgame? Oh, okay.
I feel like Infinity War had better battles. Yeah, because they had to go up against Thanos with superpowers, super duper powers.
Yeah, even the finale is really great, which we will get into. But before we get into the finale, you had something to say about a particular villain in this?
Oh, okay. The villain for this movie, Helmut Zemo, is an absolute maniac. He had probably one of the stupidest plans, but it was also unironically the smartest plans, and it somehow worked.
Okay, I like Zemo in this. I like this interpretation. It's very different from the comics. He doesn't even have the pink mask in this movie at all. They originally had ideas for the pink mask, but never worked out. I like that they don't make him a Nazi. That's nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
It spices things up. The last two movie villains were Nazis.
Yeah. I also really think Daniel Bruhl brings a lot of good emotion to this character. And I also like that he's a low-tech villain that wins. Like,
Yes.
out of all the villains, and this includes Thanos because he technically loses in the end of all this, Zemo won. Like, he got what he wanted done. Like,
Yeah.
even at the time of we're recording, before we even see Brave New World, the Avengers aren't really a thing.
Yeah. They're like, conceptually, they're around, but if you told the Avengers to assemble at that exact moment, you don't know who's going to show up.
Exactly. Like, this man has done such irreparable damage to the MCU as a whole, and we don't even know who's on the fucking team. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, it's just really cool how he just figures out a way to get all this shit done because he has the means to do it, and they're all very low-tech reasons. Like, they're not like some virus. Like, the way he breaks into the CIA is like, I'm just gonna mail this EMP that's the size of a freaking couch to the power plant.
The fact that that even works is so funny and so stupid. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna mail a bomb to the power plant.
Yeah.
And it, no one checks. Hey, maybe this is like some kind of explosive, and you look and see just a massive EMP, and it's like, what?
Yeah. And I also love it because it is also like how that woman towards the beginning of the film goes after Iron Man and just, gets in his face about, kind of pulls a bit of a Karen move, not gonna lie, and just says like, you did this to my son. He kind of does the same thing, just a little bit more violent. He is a result of all of their inactions to save people.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool. But I do kind of want to hear your rant.
His plan is so batshit wild. I don't know if he knew everything that was gonna, or at least most things that was gonna happen before they happened,
Yeah.
or if it was just, I want this, and everything just lined up perfectly. Whether it be the Sokovia Accords, to just the sheer fact that they thought he was trying to get more super soldiers to kill.
Yeah.
No. He planned he know the whole thing.
Yeah.
Actually, he knew exactly what to say.
So let's break down his plan here.
His plan all started when Black Widow, all the way in 2014. 2014. What the heck is a year, my guy? I don't know what year it is. Natasha Romanoff leaked all S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets. This also includes Hydra secrets. She probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's a conversation for later. Zemo, he looks up all this private information.
There seems to be this secret thing that happened in Siberia, so we need to figure out what's going on there. The only person that knows this is the Winter Soldier, a guy notorious for being a ghost.
You don't know where the Winter Soldier is, and Hydra is dead, so he's probably not killing people anymore. So the best way to get him is to frame him for super murder, and then everyone captures him, and then, you know where he is. So just sneak into the place, mission report December 16, 1991.
Find out that there's more super soldiers, lead the Avengers there. Just hope that when you get there, you find something. Oh, look, I just so happen to find out that Howard Stark was killed by the Winter Soldier. That's pretty fucked up.
For some reason, that Captain America probably knows this information.
Maybe Zemo isn't a great mastermind like we thought he was. Maybe he's just really fucking lucky.
Maybe his power is plot armor.
Yeah, it does sound like he just happened to get everything he wanted. I would love if we ever see him again just to be like, all right, Zemo, we need you to plan this out. And he's just like, oh, I just kind of went on a limb. I didn't even think I'd make it that far.
He comes up with the most batshit insane stuff.
Everybody dies.
It just works.
Yeah. I just think that's pretty funny. I mean, I like the villain. it's not the best well-written plan. It's a very James Bond plot.
That's exactly what it is.
It seems like the cards ended up so well in his favor that he comes across as smart, and it just works for me. I don't know.
I think his plan to at least somewhat capture the Winter Soldier makes sense, but it's also extremely far-fetched when you consider that he's only human. How are you positive that you're going to be able to sneak into this heavily guarded government building without nobody noticing?
I don't know.
It's simple. You wore the guy's suit, so naturally...
Yeah, of course. And put on a little fake mustache. No one will notice.
Yeah.
You know what I think works? Even though like we were joking about how the plan makes no sense, I think the performance by Daniel Bruhl, where it's not the mustache-twirling villain, it's just some dad. He's just playing like a sad father who lost his family, and he's just wanting revenge. It's a tragic character who lost a lot, and you kind of want him to win so that he could get some form of validation and like revenge. Because ultimately, yeah, the Avengers fucked up with him. Not saying he did everything right. He also apologizes for killing T'Chaka. Like he says, like he was a great man. I am sorry that he got in the way of my plan.
I mean, that's what happens when you plant a bomb.
I know.
Whoa, no.
He's like, fuck, I killed Black Panther's dad. Shit. Now all black people are gonna hate me.
I mean, that's kind of what happens anyways.
He's probably, I don't imagine him being racist that much, but
He probably isn't.
He isn't. But just imagine having an entire nation of black people hating you.
Yo.
You're like, you fucked up bad. Yeah, I don't know. I like his character, but I think we should also move on to the finale that we keep mentioning. You think, the finale fight is just going to be a bunch of bland, no-name super soldiers fighting Captain America, Bucky, and Iron Man. No, Zemo's just like, fuck it. Shoot them in their sleep.
Yeah.
I don't want more of you running around. Are you fucking kidding me? One of you's enough.
Yeah. I feel like he found out by accident.
I don't know if his original plan was to take them out or his plan was to just lead them to Siberia, but whatever. I still like how the ending is more of an emotional ending instead of a political ending, where Iron Man finds out that Bucky, while he was the Winter Soldier, was hired to kill Howard Stark and by proxy Maria Stark, and it's brutal. Like, you see how he does it. He chokes out Maria and he punches his dad in the face with the metal arm to make it look like an accident. Like, it's dark. It's very fucked up.
Yeah.
And that leads into the fight between Captain America, Bucky, and Iron Man. And it's a good fight. It's a really good fight.
Honestly, it's got to be one of the best fights of the entire MCU.
Well, I think that's the case because there's so much emotion behind it. At first, it's just, hey, Iron Man, chill the fuck out. We need you to calm down. Like, think reasonably here. Use your brain. And he's like, no, he killed my mom, man. If he's still breathing, I'm going to make sure that there's no ounce of air in his lungs by the time I'm done with him. And you're on his side. You're like, he killed his mom. Like, if I found the dude who killed my mom, the things I would do to that person.
Honestly, relate.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You can kind of side yourself with Iron Man in the end. And Captain America, the character who's all been about, like, trusting and telling the truth, he fucked up. He didn't tell Tony the truth. He knew about this since the second film. He should have told him the truth. And this is what happens when you do lies like this.
Yeah.
I love just the fight in general. I mean, there's a lot of callbacks to the Civil War comic in that fight, and the way it ends is perfect. With, fittingly enough, the movies that we're talking about with Captain America, Steve Rogers Captain America, it's interesting that, like, in this film, he gives up the shield. Like, he's no longer Captain America in this film. He's done. He does not believe in that at all. Like, the next time we see him, he's Nomad. And then he kind of becomes Captain America again, but he doesn't really believe in, like, the brand of Captain America. I mean, we didn't talk about Sam that much in this review, mostly because I think he's just a really fun side character, and he has got a lot of really fun moments with Bucky in this film, like the moment in the back of the car where they're both nodding at Steve.
Yeah. I think throughout all of our reviews, we got to mention a side character that's going to become important in future events, which is, I completely forget her name.
Sharon?
Yeah, her.
That's the one thing I don't like about this film is that kiss, because knowing where these films go, it kind of seems a little
Yeah.
gross, especially if we consider that in the timeline Captain America goes back in time, he's going to meet his niece, and he's going to be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Ooh, that makes family dinner awkward.
Yeah.
That's my Captain America.
It becomes real.
That represents the South.
Huh, wonder what state he's from. A stands for something.
Captain of Alabama.
Man, what you do when Captain Alabama pulls up to your dinner table?
Oh, I also point that I wrote this note for the first film. One thing I really like that they do, nice little callback in this film too, is when Spider-Man is fighting Captain America and Captain America traps him. And he asks, like, you got guts, kid. Where are you from? And he goes, Queens. And he goes, Brooklyn. One thing, I know that's like a little nod to the fact that they're both from New York and, you know, New York people stick together. But one other thing I like is that in the first film, when he meets the doctor, he asks the doctor where he's from, as in, like, what country is he from? And the doctor says Queens.
Where are you from?
Queens, 73rd Street and Utopia Parkway. Before that, Germany.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
Nice.
It was definitely not planned because they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man. But it's nice little stuff like that of, like, the doctor was, you know, he was from Queens, Spider-Man's from Queens. It kind of shows how Captain America just kind of was like, oh, this kid's got good heart. Or, like, good stuff comes from Queens kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that. It's just a little, if we're looking at these films as a trilogy of the Steve Rogers Captain America saga, it's a nice little through line. It may not have been intended, but it's a nice little moment that connects these films in a really cool, nerdy way.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is the last time we're talking about the Steve Rogers character. What do you think of Chris Evans as this character, since this is the last time we're really going to be talking about him in this series of the Star Spangled Spectacular?
Honestly, Chris Evans did probably the best job as Captain America as you can get a person.
I agree. Like, he's the best. He will always be my Cap.
I don't think it's physically possible to top him in terms of Captain America.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this. He'll always be my Cap because I grew up on this character. That doesn't mean there's not room for Anthony Mackie and the Sam Wilson character to do something else with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
In Endgame, when he passes the mantle to Sam, Sam is the best person for this job. And
yeah,
we'll get more into why I think that when we talk about the next video in the series, which is going to be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Before we cover Brave New World, we'll talk more about why I think that's the case. But just the Steve Rogers character, I love Boy Scout characters. I was a Boy Scout myself. I like the idea of people who are just morally good. And I feel like Captain America is a good representation of, like, being a nice person above everything else, including when people are forcing authority and law and government on top of you. It's important to respect others and give freedom to others and make sure everybody has a say in things and fight to make sure that everybody has a chance. And I've always thought that's what Captain America represents. And I'm excited to see how Sam fits into that side of the character, and Anthony Mackie. Donovan, do you want to say anything before we wrap this up?
Honestly, I think I might be putting my expectations too far out, but I'm going to say it anyways. I'm expecting the new Captain America to be a fresh take on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I'm just going to say Spider-Man and Miles Morales.
I mean,
I'm not sure I'll say that, though.
If we're talking about color-wise, it's a little similar.
Yeah. Honestly, these were some really good movies and, like, the top-tier movies of the MCU.
But yeah. I definitely think Anthony Mackie has a lot of movies. Like, these are very good movies, and he's got a lot writing on this new movie for him.
Yeah.
Especially with that Captain America brand name.
Yeah, let's hope the writers do a good job on it.
Let's hope. But yeah, I mean, we still have one more thing Captain America-wise to talk about, which is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is kind of the show talking about the mantle of Captain America going to Sam. So yeah, can't wait to talk about that in the next video. But for right now, we're going to wrap this up a bit on our longer side, so stay with us. Like this video, hit that like button. If you want to hear our thoughts on not only The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but also Brave New World, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video and you want other people to hear us talk about Captain America, hit that share button and share this video around with all your friends, enemies, hell, your racist uncle.
No, racist uncle. You see Anthony Mackie.
He's gonna be a Black Panther.
Black Panther, he's gonna go insane.
Shared it with him. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Bye.
Skirt, skirt.